my name is Tandu Yvonne, and today I will walk you through the steps of creating a simulation using Articulate Storyline. So just for today's video, I'm only going to show you one or two steps in creating a board in Trello board from scratch. I will do my best to edit this video to shorten the length, and if you also want to find out how to create a Trello board in more detail, I will add the link to my simulation in the description. So let's go ahead and get started. So the very first thing that you need to do is open up a new storyline document. You have two options to begin your simulation. You can click where it says record screen, or you can click where it says new project. Let's click where it says new project. And so this is where we begin to create our simulation. So I'm going to click where it says record screen. So we're in the scene view. So I'm going to click where it says record screen. And so I click there. And so here I can resize the screen. And so to show our simulation, I'm only going to just show a part of the screen. So let me resize my screen by clicking on these little squares. And this is all we need. And so over here, before I begin my simulation, I have the option of adding audio. So if I want to add the audio, I can choose my microphone, but just for now, I'm not. And so when I'm ready to begin recording, I'm going to click record. And I'm only going to show you two steps, or maybe three or four. So click the red button for record. And then you're going to press escape when you're done. So the very first step into creating a board from scratch is click create. And then you're going to click create board. And maybe we'll name this weekly task. And then you're going to click on create board. And then I'm going to click escape. So I did about 4 steps. And so now we're waiting for your board to save. Okay, so it's saved. And so I'm just going to move this up a little bit so that you can see. You have several options. You have where you can create a video in which it'll show your mouse cursor. You can have it show up in a new scene or a scene that you've already created. You can also show step-by-step slides, which are your view, your try mode, and your test mode. So what we're going to do, we're going to insert. So let's see, I'm going to click on video and I'm going to click insert. Okay. And what I'm going to do is go ahead and get my try, my view mode, and my test modes already here in separate scenes. So I'm going to go back to record screen. As you can see, we already have that video, so we're going to click on the same video. And so now we want to click on step-by-step slides. And this one, so we have the view mode, the try mode, and the test mode. Let's select the view mode. We're going to do a new scene. Click insert. Okay, so we have the view scene. And now we're going to get the try mode. So we have the view mode, we have the video. Let's get the try mode. Click insert. And now let's use our test scene. So once again, record screen. Click on the video that we've already created. And so now we want to select test mode. That will open in a new scene. Click insert. All right, so here we have our blank scene. We have our video scene, our view scene, our try scene, and our test scene. So quickly, before we preview all scenes, I'm going to create buttons just so that we can be able to link our simulation. So quickly I'm going to increase this size just so you can see. I'm going to click on Insert. I'll just type in here simulation. And let's make this about 32. Load it, center it. And so now I'm just going to grab 3, or I'll do 4 buttons. So we'll do 1, I'll do 4. Control D I'm using. And so I just went ahead and grabbed. Let's move this up. Move that up a little bit. I'm going to use the Align button to make sure everything is equally spaced. So I left clicked and I hit the Shift button. I'm going to go to Home, click on Arrange. I'm going to go to Align. I'm going to left align everything so you see how all of that moves. I'm going to click on Align again. And I want to distribute this vertically. Voila, and everything is in its proper size. I'm going to type in here and write video mode, view mode, try mode, and test mode. And what we're going to do later on is set triggers so that the user can click on each one. So quickly, let's see. Let's make the font. I'm probably doing this a little bit a longer way, but that's okay. I'm going to use my paintbrush. Voila. Paintbrush again. Voila. Click on the paintbrush again. And one thing I want to do is set my states so that the user will know that they've already clicked on a button. And of course, we would make this prettier. And you can also look at my example simulation that I've created. Let's move this timeline up so that we can see what we're doing. So I'm in the first button, which is the video mode. I'm going to click on states. These buttons are already built in. So what I want to do is I have hover, which is a different color. I'm going to leave that as is. The visited button, let's go ahead and click edit. The visited button, I'll just leave it the red one. So we'll click done. Now let's try view mode, edit. Where's visited? I'm just going to color that one. Click done. Try mode. Click edit. There's my visited. Color that one. Click done editing. And now my test mode. And so the reason why we're changing the color to visited is so that they'll see that they've already visited that button when they've returned back to the main menu screen. All right, so let's go back to our story view. I'm going to rename this, double click, main menu. Voila. Okay, so let's take a look at the video scene. I'm going to hit preview just to see this scene so you can see what was recorded. All right, so let's hit close and let's take a look at our view scene. And the view scene is pretty much the same. It's just showing you step by step. So as you can see, let's increase this so that you can see it. It already provides the wording for you. So you can easily go in here and edit what the colors that you want to use. So I'm going to click on this box and I want to make it a black. And so I'll just say click the create button. Okay. And then let's take a look at the second slide. And we're going to make that black. Click how about we just say click on create board. Oops. Okay, and let's go. And the next one is telling us to type a name for the board. And once again, we're going to name this black. Of course, you can have different verbiage. I'm just doing this just for today's video. Uh-oh. So I'm one step ahead. So let's say click on the blank field. And right here, we're going to color that black. Type weekly task. That's already in for us. And the next one is, I think that is, how about we just delete that board? We'll just delete that board. Do you want to delete this slide? Yes. So we deleted that slide. And so now let's see what this looks like in action. Uh-oh, you know what I did? I did not. I'm reviewing just that scene. We want to review just that scene, not just this slide. And once again, okay, so let's review this scene. So click create. So it's doing it for us. This is the view mode. Click create board. Click on the blank field. Type weekly task. Okay, and so you notice that the fields are not exactly where we want them. So so if you notice that your field is somewhere that you don't want it, you can always click on this blue space and enlarge or resize. So I want that there. Create board. Let's see where that is. And it's not where we want it. So we're going to resize this. Let's move this over. Create board. And I want that right there. There we go. Let's move down to this one. And this, as you will see, this will be very important in our next steps when we are creating the test view, the test mode. Okay, and I'm going to move this up just a little bit. Oh, that's fine where it is. And then right here, and this is fine here. Okay, so let's exit out of that. Let's go to the try scene and let's just make sure everything is where it's supposed to be. So here we have create. Uh-oh, I made that too small. All right, so that's where it's supposed to be. Let's look at the hint caption. So you have, just like when you're creating a quiz and Storyline, you have the feedback slide. So you can change that. Um, but what we're focusing on is click on, so we're going to go ahead and make this look identical to the view slide. So let's see. We're on 4.1. So this is the view mode. I wanted to make it look identical. So I'm just going to click on that, do Control C, and then I'm going to click here, hit delete, and do Control V. So that's identical. Okay. And so let's go to 4.2 and let's make sure, just make sure, yep. I'm going to resize that, go there. And it's okay to make your click space a little larger. There we go. And that is slide 4.2. So we're going to go back to our view scene. I'm going to click there on my keyboard. I'm clicking Control C. I'm going to go here to my try mode. I'm going to click on hint caption. I'm going to click on this text box, hit delete. On my keyboard, I'm clicking on Control V, V for Victor. And voila, we have that. Now we're off to slide 4.3. Let me go here, 3.2, my view screen. Go to 3.3, click on there, do Control C. This speeds up the process. Go to my hint caption, delete that, Control V. And so now I'm going to click on the base layer. And what I'm going to do is make sure I am enlarging that field so that they can click on it. Here we go. And now I'm in 4.4. Something looks a little off. Let me go to 3.4, which is weird. I'm going to click here, Control C, go to 3.4, and see what is missing here. Okay, so there we go. So I just had to resize that. We'll put that field up here. Line it up with this space so they can type in weekly task. And I'm going to go to my hint. I'm going to delete that. Control V. Voila. And then 4.5. I'm going to go back to my views. Oh, I deleted 3.5. So let's go ahead and delete that scene. Click yes. I'm just going to put don't ask again. All right. And so now let's go back to our story view. And so we already did our view scene, our try scene. Now we're going to go to our test scene. And your test scene is simply hotspots. This is where your learner will get the percentage of the amount of questions they answered correctly. And so here, once again, we're going to resize our hotspots. Okay. And then we're going to go to try again. Not try again, but incorrect. Hotspot. And here is where you can add hints, but we're not going to do that. So let's go to 5.2. We want them, make sure it's the create board. Push that over. All right. So let's go back to 5.1 again. Let's go to our baseline. Let's go to form view. This is where you have control over your hotspots. And so as you can see, we already have the correct answer set for create. Let's take a look at 5.2. We just want to make sure that the area, yep, and that's the correct answer set. So sometimes you'll notice when you're checking your try scene before you publish, you want to make sure that the hotspots are right. There were a few times when I was editing my simulation, and I saw that there were quite a few answer choices. You want to make sure there's just one, depending on which type of simulation you're creating. Okay, so we can see here, let's go to our try scenes. Let me see. This one was create a board. This one is to click on the board title. So we want to push this over here and resize that. It's easier to do this with a mouse. I think it's easier. Okay, and so let's click on our form view just to make sure that is the right area selected. It is. Okay. And before, I'm going to show you a trick here, but first let's just make sure our hotspot is selected. And so I'm going to make that a little smaller. I'm going to resize this. I'm going to push it up here. Resize that just a little bit. There we go. Okay. And we're going to click on form view. List the correct answers. So this is text and so here are acceptable answers. Weekly task. Another one. Weekly task. And let me go back up here. So we have B, we have C, and hit tab. So I hit tab on my keyboard to maybe show more answer choices. Okay. And let's do another one. Maybe they might do lowercase. Uh-oh, weekly task, and maybe the task might be capitalized. You want to make sure your learners have different options. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's test this scene. And so this is our testing. First, let's try our try scene. Okay, let me go to, let's just do this scene. See how that looks. Okay, and so with the try scene, once they move their mouse, it'll tell them where to click. So click the create button. All right. And so I'm moving my mouse and it's telling me to click on create board. And so I'm moving my mouse again, click on the blank field. I click there. And then here I'm going to type weekly task. I'm going to hit enter. Uh-oh, don't hit enter. All right. And then I'm going to click on that check mark. And we're done. So let's try our try scene. So I'm going to click on this scene. And you're going to see, I love the try scene because it provides your learners with feedback. So here, the try scene, it doesn't give you any hints unless you put hints. So let's click on create board. click there. And up here, I'm going to type in weekly task and click enter. Click continue. And voila. Back to the tabs. So here I'm going to go back to the main menu. Here I'm going to click on timeline. So button 1, I'm going to rename button 1 video. View mode, I'll name that view. Try mode, I'll name that try. This will make it easier for me to set my triggers. And test, I'm going to name this one test. All right, so let's go to our story view. So I'm going to go to the video scene, double click on that. And so what we're going to do is we're going to set a trigger, and we'll set the trigger to jump to next slide. And we don't want next slide. We want to go back to, I didn't name, let's see, where is it? Main menu. When the timeline ends. When the timeline ends on this slide, and we're going to click OK. And then now let's go to our review scene. We're going to click on that very last slide. I'm going to double click. And what we're going to do, we don't want to jump to the next slide. We want to go back to the main menu. So I'm going to click there. Voila. Let's go back to story view. So we just did the view. Let's do the try. We're going to click on the very last slide. Of course, you have to go back in and set your triggers so I'll show you how this one works. Matter of fact, let's go here. So I need to set my trigger video mode. So let's set a trigger here. And here we go. So we want to jump to the video scene when user clicks on video. Click OK. And then we're going to go to view mode. I'm going to set a trigger. And that would be view, the view scene. So I'm clicking on that very first slide. And then try mode, we're going to set a trigger because as you can see, there's no triggers there. And so we want them to go to the try scene. So 4.1, click OK. And then test mode, let's set a trigger for test. Jump to slide, scroll down for test. You're going to click on that very first slide. We named our button test and click OK. So let's go ahead and let's view this entire project. I only set the triggers for the video mode. So you'll see how it will take you back to the main menu after the video mode. But of course, you will have to go back in and set the triggers for the other scenes. So as you can see, I have my states when you hover. So let's click on video mode. And then click create. So it does it by itself because it's the video mode. All right, and so it took us there, and as you can see, we've already created that because it turned that state red. Well, I hope you enjoyed this quick little tutorial on how to create a simulation. Also, in my example that I first created in Storyline, I had a little notepad. So I'll show you quickly how you can resize that and add a notepad to your simulation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Design. I'm going to click where it says Setup, Slide Size. So right now it was recorded in 4:3. So we're going to change it to 16 by 9. And I'm going to see how that looks. All right, so it gave us a little bit of room. For some reason, my articulate storyline is not sizing correctly. I might have to install an update again. But over here, I'm going to click on Insert, click Photos, and maybe I will, matter of fact, I'll just do an illustration. I'll type in notebook. Maybe I'll do something like that. I'm going to click Shift and resize at the same time. I'll move this over. And since it's a notebook, it won't look too silly if I resize it over here. And then over here, you can add any type of text. Maybe you want to add some type of instructions. So I'll just resize this a little bit. Uh-oh. Let's try this again. Let's do Insert, Text Box. Type a message for your learners. And voila. And so what I'm going to do is just double check and see if it created size spacing, and it did. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to click on the text box. I'm going to click that, the text box. Let's try this again. And the shape. So what I'm going to do, I click both of them by clicking Shift, and now I'm just going to group these. And then I'm on my keypad, I'm going to do Control C. And I'm going to place that everywhere that I want. So here we're in the video scene. I'm going to double click there, Control V. That's there. And then I'm going to go to the 3.4, and so you get the drip. I'm going to submit this everywhere I can. So I can do Control V, and once I submit this everywhere, I can go in and change the message or the verbiage for each scene. And there you have it.